Hey, Josh Tigg, Run T Farms. Morning cattle move with the cows. Had a lot of rain last week. Not as much as some, but we did get 2 inches, enough where the ground got too wet for us to graze at these densities. So we spread the girls out, let them graze a little more selectively. The ground's dried up enough we can get out here and start grazing non-selectively again. So that's what we're doing. It'll be 4 times a day minimum cattle moves, 5 if we misfigure a little bit on how much forage we give them. We always want to make sure at the end of the day that they're nice and full. So if that happens, if we get to that 4th move and we think that we've shorted them just a little bit, we'll go ahead and give them another break just to make sure that they get all full up for the day. So a shot here, this is a little colony of ironweed that the cattle have just demolished. Most of the time cattle don't eat a lot of ironweed, but when you start grazing non-selectively, there's a lot of stuff that gets on the menu that wasn't previously on the menu. So here's a shot of what we're grazing, just matured out Kentucky 31 fescue primarily, some orchard grass. There's a little bit of clover in spots. There's some musk thistle, which the cattle have actually begun consuming musk thistle pretty readily. Getting pretty good harvest efficiency. Manure looks good. It took a day or so here for this grass was kind of started to lay down, and it took the cows a day or so to figure out how to graze this efficiently. So they figured out they kind of got to root around in there and get to the good part of the grass. They're eating some of the stems, but for the most part, they're just being left behind and trampled onto the ground, which is quite all right with me. So we've also noticed in this paddock that they're starting to put some pressure on some yellow crown weed, yellow crown beard, I think actually, stickweed people call it. I've never seen my cattle graze that before until just in the last few weeks, but here's some that they've actually, you can see there, they've grazed the tops out of this yellow crown beard. Most people tell me that their sheep won't even eat yellow crown beard. There's some that they haven't bothered, and I'm sure most of it's younger. There's some more that they've eaten the top out of. If it was more mature, it would be a lot harder, less palatable. They probably wouldn't bother it much. So this is a leased farm that we've just taken control of here in the last couple months. Fortunate enough that if you can see that my John Deere Gator sitting there, we leased the farm on the other side of the fence. This farm's gonna have to have quite a bit of fence repair, a lot of new fence built, a lot of water development, but we thought we would go ahead and get started grazing some on it. So we just run some black poly pipe, tapped into one of my waters that's on the other side of the fence, and we're back to grazing with a portable water tank. So been a while since I've done that. You do what you have to do to get water to your cattle. I just moved it. It's filling back up, so we got some mats down here to keep it down. We've got our float valve there protected with a little bit of poly wire. And I'll give you a tip that I had kind of forgotten, since it's been a year or two since I had used portable tanks out in the pasture. So as you can see here, I've got this temporary fence coming right up to the corner of this tank, and then it's going straight that way. Then I have a fence here on this side separating to keep them out of the next break. So I always like to put a couple extra posts here, because sometimes when the cows get up here, they get to pushing on one another a little bit, and if you don't have several posts next to the water, they might push one through it. So that helps out. Also, don't build a lane out from this water and put a corner. See, I don't have a corner here. It's just a straight shot. I'll show you what happens. There's actually some musk thistle that the cattle graze down. I'll eat all the blooms off and the stem. So should have moved the water before I did. I thought I would just build a little bit of a lane to keep them out of a shaded area they started putting too much impact on. So right here was a corner, and you can see what happens. Made a mess right here. I mean, we will let it recover and it'll be all right. I expect we'll have a pretty good population of weeds there next year, but it'll be okay. But what those cattle do is they walk up through here, and then they all single file right around that corner that I built out of poly wire, trying to squeeze one more day out of my water. I had it set right there against the fence. The reason I made this break too wide, it's taking me too long. We're just grazing back to that area of woods there. Ideally, I like it to be about 3 days per strip, and we've been here too long. But rather than reset that strip, I thought I would just go ahead and finish this up. We'll narrow up the next strip so that in a 3-day period we get grazed to the woods and we can move over. And we've been moving the water about every other day. I should have moved it every day. So my advice is don't get lazy moving your water, or you'll have a situation like I had over there. But it will recover. We're happy to be back grazing. These girls are working on this grass pretty good. Here, just happened to see, here's another shot of that. That was musk thistle, pretty tall. There's some of the stalks off of it, but as you can see, they eat all the leaves, the stems, the blooms, just the stalk. There is, I believe that was some leftover musk thistle there. This is definitely a leftover musk thistle. So we got working on it in 2 ways. We got the musk thistle weevils that we found out are here, and our cattle are readily consuming this musk thistle. So if you hadn't checked out that musk thistle weevil video I posted a week ago or 2 weeks back, go check that out. That's a very cool video. So hope everybody has a fantastic Sunday. As always, you can check us out online at runningtbeef.com. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure and click that like and subscribe button on the way out. And I hope everybody has a fantastic Sunday and a great next week.